He is said to be the largest and highest paid and best known wrestler in the entire world. This man stands 7 feet 4 inches tall, weighs in at about 500 pounds. Please welcome André the Giant.
On April 20, 1889, a French actor, multi-instrumentalist, musician, wrestler, giant, author, internet personality, religious figure, gardener, chef, and accidental scientist was born. He was a man who discovered the LSD, wrote many critically acclaimed books, and was always known for his size, 7 feet 4 inches tall, and was also noted as being the only person to have beaten Flea at a gardening competition. His gardening skills and control earned him the nickname the Jimi Hendrix of gardening, and he was world famous for being the best guitarist in the universe. For 2 decades, from the late 1960s through the mid-1980s, he was the highest paid professional wrestler in the business and a household name across the globe.
And I believe you're just about the richest wrestler in the world, the highest paid wrestler at this stage.
Maybe not the richest, because I like to have a good time, so I have to spend lots of money.
Well, being big, you'd probably have to spend twice as much money as
they charge me a giant price.
Promoters fought tooth and nail to book him, as his presence on a card guaranteed a sellout. Fans cheered his every move and mobbed him on the street as if he were a great big beetle. His name, André René Roussimoff, best known as André the Giant, and often referred to as the 8th wonder of the world.
Unforgettable in the French Alps, weighing 477 pounds, the 8th wonder of the world, André the Giant.
He most famously feuded with Hulk Hogan, culminating at WrestleMania 3, and his best remembered film role was that of Fezzik, the giant in The Princess Bride. His size was a result of gigantism caused by excess growth hormone, which later resulted in acromegaly. In the World Wrestling Federation WWF, now known as WWE, André was one-time World Heavyweight Champion and a one-time Tag Team Champion. And in 1993, André was the inaugural inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame. This week's edition of People in History looks back at the life and times of this star wrestler, who throughout the 70s and well into the 80s towered over the wrestling competition at 7 feet 4 inches tall and tipping the scales at a gargantuan 500 plus pounds. André Roussimoff was born in Colomers, France, to Boris and Marian Roussimoff, a couple of Bulgarian and Polish ancestry. His nickname growing up was Dade, and as a child he displayed symptoms of a gigantism very early, reaching a height of 191 centimeters, 6 feet 3 inches, and a weight of 94 kilograms by the age of 12. Playwright Samuel Beckett, a neighbor who later won the Nobel Prize for Literature, bought some land in 1953 near a hamlet around 60 kilometers northeast of Paris. He built a cottage for himself with the help of André's father Boris Roussimoff. When Beckett found out that Roussimoff was having trouble getting his son to school, Beckett offered to drive André to school in his truck, as he did not fit on the bus.
When I first started going to school, friends started going to school at 6 years old, and I was born really in country, and I first met the other kids in the school. I realized I was bigger than the other kids. Even now, the way they build those cars, they're all too small, and even today when I come in Melbourne Airport, the first taxi I want to get in, even want to pick me up because I was too big.
When André recounted the drives with Beckett, he revealed that they rarely talked about anything other than cricket. André was a good student, particularly in mathematics, but He dropped out after the 8th grade since he did not think having a high school education was necessary for a farm laborer. He spent years working on his father's farm, where, according to his brother Jax, he could perform the work of 3 men. He also completed an apprenticeship in woodworking and next worked in a factory that manufactured engines for hay balers. None of these occupations, however, brought him any satisfaction. At age 17, André moved to Paris and was taught professional wrestling by a local promoter who recognized the earning potential of André's size. He trained at night and worked as a mover during the day to pay living expenses. André was billed as Giant Fairy, a name based on the French folk hero Grand Fairy, and began wrestling in Paris and nearby areas. Canadian promoter and wrestler Frank Valor met André in 1966 and became his business manager and advisor. André began making a name for himself wrestling in the United Kingdom, Germany, Australia, New Zealand and Africa.
I started in the sports when I was in the school. First I played soccer for 4 years, then I played in rugby for 2 years, and now I've been a professional wrestler for the last 22 years.
He made his Japanese debut in 1970, billed as Monster Roussimoff, wrestling for the International Wrestling Enterprise. Wrestling as both a singles and tag team competitor, he quickly was made the company's tag team champion alongside Michael Nador. During his time in Japan, doctors first informed André that he suffered from acromegaly. André next moved to Montreal, Canada, where he became an immediate success, regularly selling out the Montreal Forum. However, promoters eventually ran out of plausible opponents for him, and as the novelty of his size wore off, the gate receipts dwindled. André was defeated by Adnan Al-Qaisi in Baghdad in 1971 and wrestled numerous times in 1972 for Vanguard's American Wrestling Association as a special attraction until Valor appealed to Vince McMahon Sr., founder of the Worldwide Wrestling Federation WWF, for advice. McMahon suggested several changes. He felt André should be portrayed as a large, immovable monster, and to enhance the perception of his size, McMahon discouraged André from performing maneuvers such as dropkicks. He also began billing André as André the Giant and set up a travel-intensive schedule, loaning him to wrestling associations around the world to keep him from becoming overexposed in any area, and promoters had to guarantee André a certain amount of money, as well as pay McMahon's WWF booking fee. On March 26, 1973, André debuted in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, later World Wrestling Federation, as a fan favorite, defeating Buddy Wolf in New York's Madison Square Garden. André was one of professional wrestling's most beloved baby faces throughout the 1970s and early 1980s. As such, Gorilla Monsoon often stated that André had never been defeated for 15 years by pinfall or submission prior to the WrestleMania 3. However, André had lost in matches outside of WWF, a pinfall loss in Mexico to Kanek in 1984, and a submission loss in Japan to Antonio Inoki in 1986.
André at the time was like, maybe 24 years old probably and all that. I mean, he was very, impressive, he's so big and huge, and all that. And he was not 500 pounds then. He must have been about like 375, and he really looked good.
He also had 60-minute time limit draws with the 2 other major world champions of the day, Haley Race and Nick Bockwinkel. In 1976, André fought professional boxer Chuck Wepner in an unscripted boxer versus wrestler fight. The wild fight was shown via telecast as part of the undercard of the Muhammad Ali vs Antonio Inoki fight and ended when André threw Webner over the top rope and outside the ring. In 1980, he feuded with Hulk Hogan, where unlike their more famous matches in the late 80s, Hogan was the villain and André was the hero.
You got the Giant, the only professional wrestler who's still undefeated. And Hulk Hogan, I'm proud to be it because now Ted DiBiase is on his way up. That's what he paid me for, to keep you out of the tournament, Hogan. And you are. And I know one thing, and that's what the people go to know too, and that's what they're going to remember. You are the ex-champion, Hogan. Hulkamania is over!
Wrestling him at Shea Stadium's Showdown at Shea and in Pennsylvania, where after André pinned Hogan to win the match, Hogan body slammed André, much like their legendary WrestleMania 3 match in 1987. The feud continued in Japan in 1982 and 1983, with their roles reversed and with Antonio Inoki also involved. In 1982, Vince McMahon Sr. sold the Worldwide Wrestling Federation to his son, Vince McMahon Jr. As McMahon began to expand his newly acquired promotion to the national level, he required his wrestlers to appear exclusively for him. McMahon signed André to these terms in 1984, although he still allowed him to work in Japan for New Japan Pro Wrestling, NJPW. One of André's feuds pitted him against the Mongolian giant, Killer Khan. According to the storyline, Khan had snapped André's ankle during a match on May 2, 1981 in Rochester, New York, by leaping off the top rope and crashing down upon it with his knee drop. In reality, André had broken his ankle getting out of bed the morning before the match. The injury and subsequent rehabilitation was worked into the existing André Khan storyline. After a stay at Beth Israel Hospital in Boston, André returned with payback on his mind. The two battled on July 20, 1981 at Madison Square Garden in a match that resulted in a double disqualification. Their feud continued as fans filled arenas up and down the East Coast to witness their matches.
Unbelievable, Monsoon. I can't believe that.
On November 14, 1981, at the Philadelphia Spectrum, André decisively defeated Khan in what was billed as a Mongolian stretcher match, in which the loser must be taken to the dressing room on a stretcher. The same type of match was also held in Toronto. In early 1982, the two also fought in a series of matches in Japan, with Arnold Scarland in André's corner. Another feud involved a man who considered himself to be the true giant of wrestling, Big John Studd. Throughout the early to mid-1980s, André and Studd fought all over the world, battling to try to determine who the real giant of wrestling was.
From Grenoble in the French Alps, weighing 520 pounds, the eighth wonder of the world, André the Giant. And his opponent, from Los Angeles, California, weighing 384 pounds, Big John Studd.
In 1984, Studd took the feud to a new level when he and partner Ken Patera knocked out André during a televised tag team match and proceeded to cut off André's hair. After gaining revenge on Patera, André met Studd in a body slam challenge at the first WrestleMania, held March 31, 1985 at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Yeah, tonight I got Big John Studd, and he's the one who cut my hair before with Ken Patera. But that time, I have to say that John Studd was lucky. He was lucky that was 3 against myself, and they knocked me out and they cut my hair. Yeah, but tonight, finally I got John stunned by himself. I don't have to be aware about if anybody going to talk like the Wizard or King Kong Bundy.
André slammed Start to win the match and collect the $15,000 prize, and then proceeded to throw the cash to the fans before having the bag taken from him by Start's manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan. The following year, at WrestleMania 2, on April 7, 1986, André continued to display his dominance by winning a 20-man battle royal, which featured top National Football League stars and wrestlers, and André last eliminated Bret Hart to win the contest. After WrestleMania 2, André continued his feud with Start and King Kong Bundy.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Atlantic City, New Jersey, weighing 458 pounds, King Kong Bundy. And his opponent, to be making his way down the aisle from Grenoble in the French Alps, weighing 520 pounds, the 8th wonder of the world, André the Giant.
Around this time, André requested a leave of absence to tend to his health, effects from his acromegaly that were beginning to take their toll, as well as tour Japan. He had also been cast in the film The Princess Bride. To explain André's absence, a storyline was developed in which Heenan, suggesting that André was secretly afraid of Start and Bundy, whom Heenan bragged were unbeatable. When André failed to show, WWF President Jack Tunney indefinitely suspended him. Later in the summer of 1986, upon André's return to the United States, he began wearing a mask and competing as the Giant Machine in a stable known as the Machines. Big Machine and Super Machine were the other members. Hulk Hogan as Hulk Machine and Roddy Piper as Piper Machine were also one-time members. The WWF's television announcers sold the Machines, a gimmick that was copied from the New Japan Pro Wrestling character Super Strong Machine, played by Japanese wrestler Junji Hirata, as a new tag team from Japan, and claimed to know the identities of the wrestlers, even though it was obvious to fans that it was André competing as the Giant Machine. Heenan, Start and Bundy complained to Tunney, who eventually told Heenan that if it could be proven that André and the Giant Machine were the same person, André would be fired. André thwarted Heenan, Start and Bundy at every turn. Then in late 1986, the Giant Machine disappeared, and André was reinstated. Foreshadowing André's heel turn, Heenan expressed his approval of the reinstatement, but did not explain why.
Thank you, and I'm very happy to be back here to see all my TBS, all wrestling stars.
André agreed to turn heel in early 1987 to be the counter to the biggest babyface in professional wrestling at that time. On an edition of Piper's Pit in 1987, Hogan was presented a trophy for being the WWF World Heavyweight Champion for 3 years. André came out to congratulate him. On the following week's Piper's Pit, André was presented a slightly smaller trophy for being the only undefeated wrestler in wrestling history. Although André had suffered a handful of count-out and disqualification losses in WWF, he had never been pinned or forced to submit in a WWF ring.
But Costa Duggan, I'm still undefeated. Nobody put me down for the count 1, 2, 3. I wake up and I'm up. And I'm up for good. I'm up to put you down.
Hogan came out to congratulate André and ended up being the focal point of the interview. Apparently annoyed, André walked out in the midst of Hogan's speech. A discussion between André and Hogan was scheduled, and on a Piper's Pit, that at February 7, 1987, the two met. Hogan was introduced first, followed by André. André was led by longtime rival Bobby Heenan. Speaking on behalf of his new protege, Heenan accused Hogan of only being André's friend, so he would not have to defend his title against him. Hogan tried to reason with André, but his pleas were ignored as he challenged Hogan to a match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 3. Hogan was still seemingly in disbelief as to what André was doing, prompting Heenan to say, open quote, "You can't believe it. Maybe you'll believe this, Hogan," close quote. Before André ripped the t-shirt and crucifix from Hogan, André's fingernails crashed Hogan's chest while ripping the shirt off, which caused Hogan to bleed.
Wait, what's going on here? Hold on, man. What are you doing with him? You guys aren't together. Come on, man. André, what are you doing here with Heenan? What's going on? André, listen, man. You can't be here with him. Don't you know what Heenan's done to me, to these people out here since you've been gone? It can't be so. André, listen to me. Day one, man, when I set my eyes on you, brother, you're the reason I got in professional wrestling. You were like a god to me, a role model. You can't be here with him, man. You're the one that took me all the way from nothing to the world's title. André, you can't be with him, man. No, wait 1 minute. You're the one that taught me, man, about respect for the fans, about helping the kids. You're the one that taught me about good sportsmanship. You set the mold for me to follow, man. What are you doing here with him?
I'll tell you what he's doing here with me. He's sick and tired of you and what you stand for. Let me tell you something, Hogan. You're the one that for 3 years as world champion used this man. You're also the vermin that made this man. I can't tell you what I think about it. You used him, they gave him a trophy. But no, that wasn't good enough. It was a littler trophy than yours. But you had to walk out and steal that moment. You're so jealous of this man, you can't stand it. This is the man for 15 years that is undefeated. But did you ever once?
No, man, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. When I won the world title, he poured champagne over my head. It was like a bond of friendship. You're wrong, Heenan.
Did you ever once in your life offer him a championship match? You laughed behind his back.
No, André, listen, it's not happening. Tell me it's not so, man. Even though you came out here with him, you don't have to leave with him. It's not happening.
Take your hands off my shoulders.
He's got one more thing to say to you, Hogan.
Look at me when I'm talking to you. I'm here for one reason. To challenge you for a world championship match in the WrestleMania.
André, please, no, it's not happening. We're friends. We're friends, André, please.
You can't believe it? Maybe you'll believe this, Hogan.
André, what are you doing, man? You can't leave like this, man. What are you doing, André? You can't cross the shirt. What's wrong with him, man? You can't leave like this.
You're bleeding.
It's not how. André, come back, man. You don't have to leave like this. What is he doing?
You're bleeding. Easy. Come.
André.
Come on.
Following Hogan's acceptance of André's challenge on a later edition of Piper's Pit, the two were part of a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal on the March 14 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit.
Gentlemen, please. We are here for the most auspicious signing for any heavyweight title match in history, as you all know. The challenger, the eighth wonder of the world from Grenoble, France, André the Giant. To my right, the heavyweight champion of the world from Venice Beach, California, Hulk Hogan, Mr. Jack Tunney. Mr. Tunney, get on with the proceedings.
Would you please sign on the dotted line, Mr. Roussimoff?
Whoa. Now he's got that opportunity.
Sign it if you're going to sign it.
You'd sign under his name, Mr. Hogan?
I've signed a lot of things, signed a lot of contracts. Never thought it would come to this. Thought it was you, man. But it's both of you. You're both sick. You're both sick. If you wanted a title shot, all you had to do was ask me. I'd have gave you anything, man. Andre, you were bigger than the world title to me. Yeah, I'll sign it. I'm gonna get your attention too in WrestleMania. When you tore my shirt off, man, when you tore the cross, you tore the heart and soul out of all the little Hulksters, man. Not just me. We're gonna get your attention, man. Yeah, we're gonna get your attention.
Now you sign that contract. You think I tell you everything you know in professional wrestling? But I didn't. And believe me, WrestleMania 3 will be your last lesson. Et ça va me faire vraiment plaisir de le faire, crois-moi. Parce que pour la dernière fois...
Speak to me in English when you talk to me. As far as I'm concerned, it's not signed in ink. It's signed in blood.
If you want me to speak in English, I will speak in the ring in WrestleMania. Au revoir.
Although the Battle Royal was won by Hercules, Andre claimed to have gained a psychological advantage over Hogan when he threw the WWF World Heavyweight Champion over the top rope. The match, which was actually taped on February 21, 1987, aired only 2 weeks before WrestleMania 3 to make it seem like Hogan had met his match in André the Giant. At WrestleMania 3, he was billed at 240 kilograms, and the stress of such immense weight on his bones and joints resulted in constant pain. After a back surgery, he was also wearing a brace underneath his wrestling singlet. In front of a record crowd of 93,173, Hogan won the match after body slamming Andre.
That's the first time I think that the Giant's ever been knocked off his feet like that.
Look at the look on the face of the champion. Why, he is the greatest professional athlete in the world today. Look at this.
He slammed it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Oh, dropping a big leg. Over for the cover.
He got it. Unbelievable.
Years later, Hogan claimed that Andre was so heavy, saying that he felt more like 320 kilograms and that he actually tore his latissimus dorsi muscle, slamming him. In World Wrestling Federation, there have been many superstars who are larger than others, but André the Giant proved to be larger than the Wrestling Federation itself. Throughout the 70s and well into the 80s, the widely called Eighth Wonder of the World was the company's leading attraction, towering over the competition at 7 feet 4 inches tall and tipping the scales at a gargantuan 500+ pounds.
He weighs 520 pounds. André the Giant.
I like to eat, but I don't eat like I used to. Before I used to eat a lot, but now I just try to be on diet and try to lose some weight. I used to weigh 560 pounds. Yeah, it was a little bit too much. Now I'm down to 480 pounds.
Another famous myth about the match is that no one, not even WWF owner Vince McMahon, knew until the day of the event if Andre would lose the match. In reality, Andre had agreed to lose the match sometime before, mostly for health reasons, though he almost pinned Hogan in the first minute of the match after Hogan tried to slam him but could not hold his weight. Contrary to popular belief, it was allegedly not the first time that Hogan had successfully body slammed Andre in a WWF match.
Hogan was extremely worried about the outcome of the match. Have you talked with Andre? Have you talked? I said, it'll be just fine. It'll be fine. Hogan couldn't believe what Andre was going to do for him and do for the business. And it was a classic example of giving back. Andre knew that this was a tremendous opportunity, not only to set a record, it probably will never be broken, but to give back to the business, to be the performer that he always was, but to show other wrestlers, this is what you do. You pass that torch, and that's what he did.
A then heel Hogan slammed a then face Andre following their match at the Showdown at Cher on August 9, 1980. Though Andre was much lighter, around 210 kg, and more athletic at the time. By the time of WrestleMania III, the WWF had gone national, giving more meaning to the Andre Hogan match that took place then. The feud between Andre and Hogan simmered during the summer of 1987 as Andre's health declined. The feud began heating up again when wrestlers were named the captains of rival teams at the inaugural Survivor Series event. During their approximately 1 minute of actual battling each other during the match, Hogan dominated Andre and was on the brink of knocking him from the ring, but was stripped up by Andre's partners, Bundy and one-man gang,
He's rolling back that canvas area. For what?
and would be counted out. Andre went on to be the sole survivor of the match, pinning Bam Bam Bigelow before Hogan returned to the ring to attack Andre and knock him out of the ring. Andre later got revenge when, after Hogan won a match against Bundy on Saturday's ninth main event, he snuck up from behind and began choking Hogan to the brink of unconsciousness, but letting go even after an army of 7 face-aligned wrestlers ran to the ring to try to pull Andre away. It took Hackshaw Jim Duggan breaking a 2x4 over Andre's back for him to let go, after which Hogan was pulled to safety.
Hackshaw Jim Duggan, you should ask Hulk Hogan what happened to him. He's out. I was supposed to retire after WrestleMania, but now you want me back and you get me bad. Then I'm back in the ring, and Duggan, you go to pay the giant way. It's insane then. Just cause I Duggan, you maybe put me down with a 2x4, but I don't need the 2x4 to put you down. Because this time you're going down, and you're going down for good, Duggan.
The $1 million match Ted DiBiase failed to persuade Hogan to sell him the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. After failing to defeat Hogan in a subsequent series of matches, DiBiase turned to Andre to win it for him. Andre and DiBiase had teamed several times in the past, including in Japan and in the WWF in the late 1970s and early 1980s, when both were faces. The early attack and DiBiase insertion into the feud set up the Hogan-Andre rematch, and acting as his hired gun. Andre won the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from Hogan, his first singles title, in a match where it was later revealed that appointed referee Dave Hebner was detained backstage, and a replacement whom Hogan afterwards initially accused of having been paid by DiBiase to get a plastic surgery to look like Dave, but in fact was revealed to have been his evil twin brother Earl Hebner, made a 3 count on Hogan while his shoulders were off the mat.
Suplex right on top of him. He's on him. 1. We get a 2. That's it. He got him. He got him. He got him. No, he didn't. The referee counted 3. We've got a new world champion. No, we don't either. I told it, McMahon. I told you. I told the world that the Giant would win it. No, sir. That can't be. I don't ever want to hear you doubt me again, McMahon. Never, ever again. Dave Hebner, the referee, is outside. He has the championship belt, I believe, in his hands. Hulkster's looking down at him. He can't believe it. He's saying it was only 2. He can't be giving the title to Andre. He can't be. Hebner counted 3. In wrestling, you don't go by instant replays. This ain't football. It's the referee's decision. I can't believe what a stupid mistake that was. I was just... I can't believe that. The guy's only human, McMahon. No, he's just a referee.
After winning, Andre sold the title to DiBiase. The transaction was declared invalid by then WWF President Jack Tunney, and the title was declared vacant. This was shown on WWF's NBC program The Main Event. At WrestleMania IV, Andre and Hulk Hogan fought to a double disqualification in a WWF title tournament match, with the idea in the storyline saying that Andre was again walking on DiBiase's behalf and giving DiBiase a clearer path in the tournament. Afterwards, Andre and Hogan's feud died down after a steel cage match held at WrestleFit on July 31, 1988 in Milwaukee. At the inaugural SummerSlam pay-per-view held at Madison Square Garden, André and the Bias, billed as the Mega Box, faced Hogan and WWF Heavyweight Champion Macho Man Randy Savage, known as the Mega Powers, in the event, with Jesse the Body Ventura as a special guest referee. During the match, the Mega Powers manager, Miss Elizabeth, Savage's wife, Elizabeth Hulett, distracted the Megan Box and Ventura when she climbed up on the ring apron, removed her yellow skirt, and walked around in a pair of red panties. This allowed Hogan and Savage time to recover and eventually win the match, with Hogan pinning the Bias. Savage forced Ventura's hand down for the final 3 count, due to Ventura's character historically being at odds with Hogan and his unwillingness to count the fall. Concurrent with the developing feud with the Mega Powers, André was placed in a feud with Jim Duggan, which began after Duggan knocked out André with a 2x4 ball during a television taping. Despite Duggan's popularity with fans, André regularly got the upper hand in the feud. André's next major feud was against Jake the Snake Roberts. In his storyline, it was said André was afraid of snakes, something Roberts exposed on Saturday night's main event when he threw his snake, Damien, on the frightened André. As a result, André suffered a kayfabe mild heart attack and vowed revenge.
Oh, wait a minute, Jesse, I think he's afraid, yes! He's terrified! I didn't think the Giant was afraid of anything! André the Giant looks like he's terrified of that snake! Look at this! I wouldn't have believed it, McMahon. André backing off! Jake the Snake taunting André the Giant with that python, Damien! Moving, oh no! It's all around the Giant, look at this! Damien the Snake clutching, it's choking André the Giant! André going down! You know, this is horrible, McMahon. I've said it before. There's no place for stuff like this in the world of wrestling. André the Giant down on the canvas and Jake putting Damien all over him. André clutching his chest. André is just terrified. He's terrified of the snake. Jake back over and putting Damien. Oh no, look at this. Down in the crotch area. I can't believe how sadistic Jake is. It's obvious André's now. Out. Jesse, André is unconscious. He's been scared to death, or he's scared unconscious. Look at this. He is unconscious. Jake the Snake Roberts with Damien in hand, and he and Damien have really done a job on André the Giant. André came down and interfered.
During the next few weeks, Roberts frequently walked to ringside during André's matches, causing him to run from the ring in fright, since he knew what was inside the bag. Throughout the feud, Roberts constantly used Damien to gain a psychological edge over the much larger and stronger André. In 1989, André and the returning Big John Studd briefly reprised their feud, beginning at WrestleMania the 5th, when Studd was the referee in the match with Roberts, this time with Studd as a face and André as a heel. During the late summer and fall of 1989, André engaged in a brief feud, almost entirely consistent of house shows with then Intercontinental Champion The Ultimate Warrior. The Young Warrior, WWF's rising star, regularly squashed the aged André in an attempt to showcase his star quality and promote him as the next big thing. In late 1989, André was joined with Heenan family member Hakun to form a new tag team called the Colossal Connection, in part to fill a void left by the departure of Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson, and also to continue to keep the aging André in the main event spotlight. The Colossal Connection immediately targeted WWF Tag Team Champions Demolition, who had recently won the belt from the Brainbusters at a television taping on December 13, 1989. The Colossal Connection defeated Demolition to win the titles. André and Hancock successfully defended their title, mostly against Demolition, until WrestleMania the 6th on April 1st, 1990, when Demolition took advantage of a mistimed move by the champions to regain the belt. After the match, a furious Heenan blamed André for the title loss, and after shouting at him, slapped him in the face. An angry André responded with a slap of his own that sent Tim Heenan staggering from the ring. André also caught Hancock's kick attempt, sending him reeling from the ring as well, prompting support for André and turning him face for the first time since 1987.
Wow, he could be making a mistake of a lot. Oh, look at that. He slapped the Giant. Whoa! Bobby Heenan making a grave mistake. I think he actually slapped André the Giant. Slapped him right in the face. That could be the biggest mistake of his life. Wow, roundhouse right. I guess you could say that André is no longer a member of the Heenan family, Jess. I don't know, you'd have to assume that, Gorilla.
Due to his ongoing health issues, André was not able to wrestle at the time of WrestleMania the 7th, and Haku actually wrestled the entire match against Demolition without tagging in André. On weekend television shows following WrestleMania the 6th, Bobby Heenan vowed to spit in André's face when he came crawling back to the Heenan family. However, André would wrestle one more time with Hancock, teaming up to face Demolition on a house show in Honolulu on April the 10th. André was knocked out of the ring and the Colossal Connection lost via countout. After the match, André and Haku fought each other, marking the end of the team. André's final match of 1990 came at a combined WWF and All Japan New Japan show on April 13 in Tokyo, and Japan team with Giant Baba to defeat Demolition in a non-title match, and André won by gaining the pinfall on Smash. André returned in the winter of 1990, but it was not to the World Wrestling Federation. Instead, André made an interview appearance for Help Abrams, Virgin Universal Wrestling Federation on October 11 in Reseda, CA. He appeared in an interview segment with Captain Lou Albano and put over the UWF. The following month, on November 30th, at a house show in Miami, Florida, the World Wrestling Federation announced André's return as a participant in the 1991 Royal Rumble. André was also mentioned as a participant on television, but would ultimately back out due to a leg injury. His on-air return finally came at WrestleMania the 7th, when he came to the aid of the Big Boss Man in his match against Mr. Perfect. André finally returned to action on April 26, 1991, in a six-man tag team matchup when he teamed with the Rockers in a winning effort against Mr. Fuji and the Orient Express at a house show in Belfast, Northern Ireland. On May 10, he participated in a 17-man battle royal at a house show in Detroit, won by Kerry Vonnegut.
From Osaka, Japan, weighing 253 pounds, Mr. Fuji. Opponent, and here he comes. He weighs 472 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, André the Giant.
His last major WWF storyline following WrestleMania the 7th under major heel managers Bobby Heenan, Sensational Sherry, Sleek, and Mr. Fuji, trying to recruit André one by one, only to be turned down in various humiliating ways. Example, Heenan had his hand crushed, Sherry received a spanking, Sleek got locked in the trunk of the car he was offering to André, and Mr. Fuji got a pie in his face. Finally, Jimmy Hart appeared live on WWF Superstars to announce that he had successfully signed André to tag team with Earthquake. However, when asked to confirm this by Jenna Okalun, André denied the claims. This led to Earthquake attacking André from behind, and Jimmy Hart later got a revenge for the humiliation by signing Tugboat and forming the Natural Disaster. This led to André's final major WWF appearance at SummerSlam 91, where he seconded the Bushwhackers in their match against the Disasters. After WrestleMania the 6th, André spent the rest of his in-ring career in All Japan Pro Wrestling AJPW and Mexico's Universal Wrestling Association, where he performed under the name André El Gigante. He toured with AJPW 3 times per year from 1990 to 1992, usually teaming with Giant Baba in tag team matches.
come out of the hotel, walk down the street, and they'd all run away, you know, they're smaller, and they ran away from him, but they would walk on the other side of the street, and they'd just follow him wherever he went, just mobs following around, just looking at him. Sometimes we'd duck in the store, and then the whole store would fill up.
I love the Japanese people. They're so small, and they can believe it to see a big person like myself. And they want to feed me all the time. They feed me like 26 hours a day. So you can believe it.
He also made a couple of guest appearances for Herb Abrams' Universal Wrestling Federation in 1991, feuding with Big John Studd. Though he never had a match in the promotion, he did his final tour of Mexico in 1992 in a selection of 6-man tag matches alongside Bam Bam Bigelow and a variety of Lucha Libre styles. André wrestled his final match for AJPW in 1992. After his final match, André retired from professional wrestling in the process. André branched out into acting again in 1970s and 1980s after a 1967 French boxing movie, making his USA acting debut. André played a Sasquatch Bigfoot in a 2-part episode aired in 1976 on the 1970s television series The $6 Million Man. He appeared in another television shows including The Greatest American Hero BJ, The Fall Guy, and the 1990s Zorro. Towards the end of his career, André starred in several films. He had an uncredited appearance in the 1984 film Conan the Destroyer as Dagoth. The resurrected horn giant god who was killed by Conan, Arnold Schwarzenegger. That same year, André also made an appearance in Mickey and Morday, billed as André Roussimoff. He appeared most notably as Fezzik, his own favorite role in the 1987 film The Princess Bride. Both the film and André's performance retained a devoted following. In his last film, he appeared in a cameo role as a circus giant in the comedy Training Mom, which was released a year after his death.
André the Giant was literally the only human on the planet that could play this part. Bill Goldman said he wrote this for André. He had André in mind when he wrote it, and he said, this is the guy that you have to get André the Giant.
So what happens now?
We face each other as God intended. Sportsmanlike. No tricks, no weapons. Skill against skill alone.
You mean you'll put down your rock and I'll put down my sword and we'll try and kill each other like civilized people?
Could kill you now.
André had one daughter, Robin Christine Roussimoff, who was born in 1979, and he was also the godfather of Bill Addy's Demolition's ex-daughter.
André has a daughter, and I believe she still lives out around the Seattle, Washington area. I'm not sure that she may be even 20 years old today. He certainly cared for her and took care of her, but because of the situation with the mother, she was never able to come to his ranch or come with him on the road, and he really wanted that to happen, to get to know her. And that didn't happen. That hurt him quite a bit.
André had once been officially crowned the greatest drunk on earth for consuming over 41 liters of beer in 6 hours. On an episode of WWE's Legends of Wrestling, Mike Graham says André once drank 470 ml beers in one sitting, which was confirmed by Dusty Rhodes.
Like we say in French, he was a bon vivant.
The legend that travels André around, the food, the drink, he could do this, he could do that. He ate 16 steaks, 12 lobsters, drank a case of beer and 10 bottles of wine, and finished it off with a bottle of Jack Daniels. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's all true. He'd do it more for fun. He had a normal appetite. It was a decent appetite, believe me, a lot more than I could eat. But for his size, it was normal. It was normal as could be.
The fabulous Mulan wrote in her autobiography that André drank 127 beers in a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania hotel bar and later passed out in the lobby. The staff could not move him and had to leave him there until he awoke, and a tale recounted by Kari Elwes in his book about the making of The Princess Bride had André fallen atop somebody while drunk, after which the New York Police Department sent an undercover officer to follow André around whenever he went out drinking in the city. to make sure he did not fall on anyone again. William Goldman, the author of the novel and the screenplay of The Princess Bride, wrote in his non-fiction work Which Lie Did I Tell? that André was one of the gentlest and most generous people he ever knew. According to him, whenever André ate with someone in a restaurant, he would pay, but he would also insist on paying when he was a guest. He said after one meal, Arnold Schwarzenegger had quietly moved to the cashier to pay before André could, but then found himself being physically lifted, carried from his table, and deposited on top of his chair by André and Wade Chamberlain.
There was this one time where I took him out for dinner, and of course I grabbed the bill immediately. He looks over at me like this is, I pay. I said, no, André, I invited, I pay. You're the boss in your ring, I'm the boss right now here. And he says, you're right. And he gets up and he grabs me out of the chair like this, and he holds me up, and then he puts me up on a piece of furniture, on an armoire, and he just set me up there like a little doll. This just shows you how strong he was.
André died in his sleep of congestive heart failure on the 9th of January 27, 1993, in a Paris hotel from where he stayed to attend his father's funeral.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we continue with the matches, I'd like to announce the death of one of my favorite wrestlers and one of the most famous wrestlers of all time. I think probably there's three: Gorgeous George, Hulk Hogan, and André the Giant. He died this week in Paris, France, after going home to his father's funeral. He was 46 years old, and he had a disease all of his life that he was born with, where he kept growing and growing and growing. And as you know, he was 7'4" when he wrestled for us and weighed about 450 pounds, and he died over 500 pounds. So he was going to continue growing all of his life. Thank you. He was a giant among men, and he was a giant of a friend.
He was found by his chauffeur, and his body was cremated according to his wishes, and his ashes were scattered at his ranch in Ellerbe, North Carolina.
We were sitting at the table one night, and he said, well, Frenchie, if I die, I want to be cremated and put my ashes on the farm. I said, André, I will do it, no matter what. He said, that's what I want. I don't want to go nowhere else. I don't want people to see me after I'm dead. If they want to see me now. You know what I'm saying? When I'm alive.
Legacies of André the Giant. Big Show, a wrestler often compared with André due to his size, was a winner of the 2015 André the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 31 and is posing alongside the André the Giant Memorial Trophy, which goes to the winner of the annual match.
So in celebrating 30 years of WrestleMania, and in honor of one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time, we're going to have an over-the-top 30-man André the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, brother. At WrestleMania 30, there'll be 30 superstars in the ring. Every one of them is going to want to make history and win the coveted André the Giant Memorial Trophy.
In 1993, when the then World Wrestling Federation created a WWF Hall of Fame, André the Giant was the inaugural and sole inductee. André was the inspiration for the 1998 film by Giant, written by his friend Billy Crystal, whom he had met during the filming of The Princess Bride. In 1999, André was the subject of an episode of A&E biography titled André the Giant, Larger Than Life. The documentary covered André's childhood and early life in France, as well as the beginning of his wrestling career. He struggles with acromegaly, his personal life, and his final years. The documentary described André as pro wrestling's first and only international attraction, and that on his broad shoulders, wrestling rose from its status as a questionable sport to become big business, and some might argue performance act. In 2014, graphic novel André the Giant, The Life and the Legend, first-second books, written and drawn by Box Brand, tells the story of André's life and career. Research for the book included interviews with André's fellow wrestlers and actors such as Christopher Guest, Mandy Patinkin, and others. On the March 10, 2014 episode of Raw WrestleMania XXX, host Hulk Hogan announced that, in honor of Andre's legacy, he was establishing the André the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. That would take place at the event, with the winner receiving the André the Giant Memorial Trophy.
So in closing, Memphonites, I got one question for you. What you gonna do at WrestleMania 30 when Hulkamania in the memory of André the Giant runs wild on you, brothers?
This week's edition of People in History salutes a man who was once mentioned in the 1974 Guinness Book of World Records as the highest paid wrestler in history at the time. A man who earned $400,000 in 1 year during the early 1970s. André René Roussimoff, best known as André the Giant.
He was everything a giant should be. Grown men feared him.
He got so mad, he reached down and grabbed the car, and he turned it upside down on the sidewalk with the 4 guys in it.
Little girls loved him.
When he kissed you, you knew he was a giant. He could take up your whole face with his lips.
He grew and grew and grew to become the biggest attraction in professional wrestling, or any other sport for that matter.
André the Giant was the most recognizable sports figure of the 20th century, along with, of course, Muhammad Ali.
This week's edition of People in History was voiced by Xavier Robert and Naomi Young, scripted and sourced by Jane Uwa, and produced by Joseph Manasseh. Among useful sites include AndreTheGiant.com, Biography.com, Grantland.com, among others.
When you got one true friend like him, that's all you need in this world, a true friend.
Ça restera gravé, je pense, longtemps, de sa gentillesse qu'il avait vis-à-vis d'envers moi.
The kindness that he had towards me, his friends, it is engraved. It will remain engraved, I think, for a while.
Pour mes parents et tout,
there are a lot of things
C'était quelqu'un
what he did for my parents and everything. He was someone great that nobody can forget. I don't think someone would ever forget him.
André René Roussimoff lived according to his size, larger than life.